In the name of the Almighty Allah, dear students, dear guardians, and honorable viewers, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are well by the mercy of Almighty Creator. I am also very grateful to Him for keeping me alive with sound health. I am also thankful to the authority of my beloved institution, Hathajari Girls High School and College, for taking necessary steps for online class. You certainly know that we are passing a very hard time for COVID-19 or coronavirus, for what we are not at our classroom now. I am missing you a lot. This is a matter of sorrow that I am not with you in the classroom. In spite of that, I am trying to discuss something according to your syllabus. Before going to the discussion, this is my heartiest request to you for enjoying the class of Sangsad Television. Dear students, welcome you again to my class. English second paper, class 9 and 10. I am going to discuss transformation of sentences, affirmative to negative. Dear students, see the chart. This is for affirmative sentence and this is for negative sentence. If you get only with a person, instead of only in negative sentence you will use none but. If you get only plus objective noun or pronoun, that means this is not a person, any other thing. That time in negative sentence you will use nothing but instead of only. If you get only with number, age or quantity, in place of age you have to use not more than in negative sentence. Alone plus personal subjects or objects. You usually know that alone is used with personal subjects or objects. In place of this alone we have to use none but to make our sentence negative. Now to clear your idea, I am going to give you some example. Suppose in example number 1, in affirmative sentence, only my father was with me in the office. In negative sentence, none but my father was with me in the office. Here only, in place of only we have used none but. Why? Because only takes my father is a person, only with person, and that's why we have used none but instead of only to make our sentence negative. Now take another example. Okay, in affirmative sentence here you see only the heart is the asset of the woman. So in negative sentence, instead of only we are going to use nothing but. Nothing but the heart is the asset of the woman. In place of only we have used nothing but. Why? Because only takes the heart. So the heart is not a person, this is a thing, and that's why we have used nothing but in place of only. Okay, now take another example. In affirmative sentence, there are only 10 cows in the field. Here only takes 10 cows. 10 is a number, and that's why we are going to use not more than in place of only. There are not more than 10 cows in the field. In place of only we have used not more than, because only takes 10. Number 4, there is only 1 liter of water in this bottle. There is not. This only has become not more than 1 liter of water in this bottle. So only take 1 liter, this is a quantity, and that's why we have used here not more than to make our sentence negative. And go to the next. Allah alone can save us from coronavirus. Here in place of alone we have used here none but. Then subject can save us from coronavirus. one thing is very important to observe here. Here Allah alone, that means alone has been used after the subject, but here in the beginning of the sentence we have used none but for alone, and we have put the subject then other words of the sentence. In affirmative sentence, my mother alone cooks our food. In the same way, none but my mother cooks our food. Okay, now go to the next row. Here, see the chart. In affirmative sentence, if you get many, instead of many, you have to use to make your sentence negative. Instead of much, you have to use not a little. Instead of a few, you have to use not many. Instead of a little, you have to use not much. Take examples. In affirmative sentence, there are many people in our place. Okay, change the sentence into negative. Here you have got many, so let's see. There are not a few people in our place. There are many people in our place. There are not a few people in our place. Instead of many, we have used here not a few, because if we get many in any affirmative sentence, we have to use not a few instead of many, and that's why we have used here not a few to make our sentence negative. There are not a few people in our place. Okay, take the next example. There is much water in this pond. There is much water in this pond. Here we have got much. Much is the clue to make the sentence negative. So say there is not a little water in this pond. If you get much in any affirmative sentence, you have to use not a little to make the sentence negative. So instead of much, we have used not a little. In affirmative sentence, there are a few students in our classroom now. Here a few is the clue to make the sentence negative. So there are not many students in our classroom now. So instead of a few, we have used not many. Example number 4. Affirmative sentence. There is a little oil in my bike. So here a little is the clue to make the sentence negative. There is not much. Instead of a little, we have used not much oil in my bike. Clear? Okay, now take another rule. In affirmative sentence, if you get both dash and, that means if you get the structure like this, in negative sentence you have to use not only instead of both, then but also instead of and. Take the example. Mr. Wajiullah is both a teacher and a poet. Here both and. Clear? Okay, now make the sentence negative. Mr. Wajiullah is not only. Instead of both, we have used not only. A teacher, the other words have not been changed. Then instead of and, but also a poet. So Mr. Wajiullah is not only a teacher but also a poet. In affirmative sentence, if you get must, in negative sentence you will use cannot but. Instead of must, you will use cannot but. Instead of have to, you have to use cannot but. Instead of has to, you have to use cannot but. All the same, must, have to, has to. Instead of must, have to, has to, you have to use cannot but. And if you get had to in any affirmative sentence, you have to use could not but. Take example. It will be more clear to you. Okay, in affirmative sentence, you must cry at his words. Okay, now see, you cannot but cry at his words. Instead of must, we have used cannot but. In affirmative sentence, we have to believe that corona is dangerous. So here have to is the clue to make our sentence negative. So we cannot but believe that corona is dangerous. So have to cannot but. In affirmative sentence, she has to sleep early at night. Okay, see what we have used instead of has to. She cannot but sleep early at night. So has to has become cannot but to make negative sense. Okay, in affirmative sentence, they had to surrender in front of humanity. Here had to, it's different. Okay, see, they could not but surrender in front of humanity. So instead of had to, we have used here could not but to make our sentence negative. Wash your hands with soap, smearing at least 20 seconds. Always keep 1 meter distance from other. Don't throw spittle here and there. Always use tissue paper while sneezing or coughing. Stay at home, stay safe. Thanks for staying with me. Have a safe life.